Investing in your clients is going to get you a better return than the S&P 500.
Which is an old sales technique called push-pull. You put an offer on the table, but then you say, oh, it's kind of invitation only. You pull it back. You create some curiosity.
Yeah.
You might steer the desire. And another perspective on the goodwill bank account is just not about withdrawing. Another idea is when you deposit a lot of goodwill throughout the journey, if you drop the ball, and psychologically speaking, in any journey, you can be on top of Mount Stupid, or you can be at the valley of despair. Those are the extremes. If the client is somewhere in between, that's the easiest conversation we'll have with the client to renew. If the clients are on top of Mount Stupid,
Welcome to the Ethical Scaling Podcast, your guide to navigating online business with integrity. Join Jay and Ben on this epic journey. Whether you're a seasoned pro or new to the game, get ready for insights, strategies, and a dash of humor. So grab your favorite beverage, cozy up in your favorite spot, and get ready to deep dive into the art and science of ethical scaling. From client success to boosting lifetime value. Plus, learn how to turn clients into your best advocates. Ready to scale ethically? Let's dive in.
All right, welcome back to the Ethical Scaling Podcast. And today we're going to dive into some tactical things that you guys can do to generate more referrals and to get more upsells. And we just want to say that investing in your clients is going to get you a better return than the S&P 500.
Isn't that the SME 500? Let's start there. I think everyone wants investing and passive income and all that stuff. And sometimes I feel like these business owners are sitting on top of gold. They have like a lot of clients, maybe hundreds of clients, active clients. And it's a lack of understanding. Probably no one ever gave them a clear action plan on how they can maximize the returns on the clients they're working with. And I think that's what we want to do today. We're fine. If you want to do S&P 500, that's fine. But just remember that investing in your clients and walking from today's episode with an action plan that can allow you to do more referrals and upsells is going to be key. I think what's most important is you need some pre-requirements. Let's talk about pre-requirements. In order for you to make any of these tactics work, we need to make sure your results rate is there. So you need to have clients. That's first. If you don't have clients, you don't need to watch this video. You can just move on. But assuming you do have clients, plenty of them, you need to make sure you look at success rates and be very honest with yourself. Out of 100 clients, how many of them are actually successful while working with me? No judgment, but just think about that. Because if the number is very low, and I will give you some benchmarks, if it's under 30% of your clients being successful, you need to work on the journey. You need to figure out what needs to change to get more clients to cross the finish line.
I think, though, the biggest issue we see with that is owners don't track that.
But they don't know.
They just go by feel.
Oh, I feel like it's working for some. And we've seen clients say, oh, no, our results are great. Then we run the numbers and they're not. They're not. I think that's the first thing, because that will mess up with the volume that we need to test these tactics, to test the referral process and the upselling process or renewal process. So it's very important for you to understand how your journey looks like from a KPI perspective. So knowing what's the success rate is going to be key. Assuming that's fine and you're like at least above 60%, and I'm ideally more than 75% of your clients are successful, so 3 out of 4, you're going to be in a really good shape to test some of these things. Another concept that I think is important for our listeners to understand, when your clients are going through the journey, you're going to be depositing goodwill. So there is a concept we talk through with our clients, which is the goodwill bank account. Yep. When you start working with a client, you have a goodwill bank account. And for every touch point, for every interaction, for anything that is happening after the sale, well, you're either depositing goodwill or you're withdrawing goodwill. And earlier on in the journey, I normally say the first 4 weeks, the first 30 days to up to 6 weeks, depending on the complexity of your offer or the duration of your offer, my main focus would be deposit. This is why mapping the journey and having all those things in place is so important. So I know what's the right time or the right touch points for me to deposit more goodwill. Why? Because again, you're not entitled to ask for anything else from your clients until you have built enough goodwill. And basically building a goodwill bank account is nothing more than tapping into reciprocation. Reciprocity will allow you to feel like, okay, I've given my client value, they have paid me, but I have given them more value than what they paid me. So I can ask for something else in return.
And just to pause for a second, because it can't just be in your view, you've made deposits of goodwill. Like there's got to be a feedback loop with clients to understand that they're perceiving that you're making deposits of goodwill.
Yeah, because sometimes I've seen, we've done all of these for clients and they're disgruntled.
Yeah.
You did. I have no questions you did, but your clients didn't perceive it. And I can think about one client of ours that she was an expert and she was really mad. We do so much and our clients are ungrateful. They're not ungrateful. They just don't understand that the value you're trying to provide is actually valuable because that's not what they want. Or it's not enough to make them feel excited about the journey. Because when you think about excitement, it's like an expectation, a positive expectation that it makes sense to work towards that goal. It's going to be good. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to get something out of it. So goodwill bank account is going to be a key concept for you guys to remember. And this is why I don't like the idea of asking for referrals earlier on in the journey. Because people ask me, can I do it during the onboarding call? Can I have a training? You can. I'm fine with you doing that. But if you think about the psychology, it doesn't make sense. If you have a high ticket business, you got a lot of money from your client to work with you. So they're already like anxious, uncertain, uncomfortable. Why would I put them under more like discomfort if they don't need to? Why wouldn't I just deposit more goodwill so that they feel good about the process, they make some really good strides, and then I can leverage the RGAs, the revenue generating activities, the referrals, the upsells. And another perspective on the goodwill bank account is just not about withdrawing. Another idea is when you deposit a lot of goodwill throughout the journey, if you drop the ball, they're going to forgive you. There is space for forgiveness. And when people tell me, look, we missed something, we dropped the ball here, and now the client asked for a refund. Goodwill wasn't there.
Yeah.
They were on the edge.
Yeah.
And the first time you dropped the ball, because there was no goodwill, there was no forgiveness.
Well, and this is why we track buy-in, versus buyer's remorse.
It's very important to understand that some companies have tracking. The majority don't have any. But assuming that you have some kind of tracking. Business owners, again, entrepreneurs, smart people that work with us, they're very logical most of the times. So best case scenario, you're tracking something internally on the progress side of things. My client is making progress. Cool, but are they emotionally invested? Because you need more than a logical investment. You need more than your clients understanding what they should be doing and they're actually doing those things. Because if they're just logically invested, this is a transaction. This is not a long-term partnership with you. And you want long-term partnerships because that's when it's easy to run the upsell conversations. Yeah. So it's very important to do a couple things here, and we want to pause for a second so you understand where we are. Understand if you're depositing goodwill, enough goodwill, to give space for forgiveness or to allow to withdraw and ask for, referrals, upsells, and all the good stuff. Making sure you have a very solid tracking system in place. And again, you don't need to go fancy. We have fancy options. We don't want to go through that today. But at least, bare minimum, track success rates and being very blunt and assertive. Those success rates shouldn't make you happy or sad. They need to be raw, real, and honest. And you must need to define what success looks like for a client. Might not be with the client, might be with your team, but define what success looks like. And it could be a milestone in your journey. If my client accomplishes milestone number 4, they're successful. Cool. Just look at your clients that accomplished milestone number 4, label them as successful. If someone was off-boarded and they were not at milestone number 4, let's be raw and honest. They weren't successful. So that will allow you to track success rates, track progress. Basically, we love the traffic light system because it's very simple. They're not making progress. They're making some progress. They're making great progress. Amazing. And based on that, you're going to be in a much better position to make really good decisions. After we have those 3 things in place, then yes, we can move into the tactics. And I think we can talk a little bit more on how can we start with referrals?
Yeah. Well, and from what I've seen in terms of you and the team doing work with clients, like it's super simple when it comes to referrals. Usually people aren't asking for them. They aren't setting a KPI in terms of number of clients asked per month for their team. They're not asking at a peak if they are asking.
It's out of timing.
Right. And then they're like hesitant to ask, or they're not coming to the ask with the right energy. Right.
That's probably the biggest one out of the 4. And you guys might be surprised when you're listening to the episode that, is it? Yeah, it is. I've listened to so many calls. And I think it goes back to preconceived ideas that your team has. So if you have coaches, client success managers, account managers, they feel like they're the good cop.
Yeah.
I need to be nice. I need to please my client. I need to make them happy. And if I ask for a referral, they're going to be pissed off. That's not true. Ben, think about yourself. I think you're the best example as a client. You're a referral engine when you're working with someone. Do you think if the business owner reaches out to you and you're even just partially happy and ask for a referral, wouldn't you find like a couple?
I love making those connections. Yeah.
So I think there is like a lot of misconceptions for teams, and that's what we do with teams typically, is to help them overcome those challenges. Yeah. Most of them are mental, they're psychological, they're not real, but they think that anything that is related with revenue is going to create trouble. Remember what we said early on today. This is not about sales tactics, podcasting, on anything related to sales. We just focus on client success and client experience. So that being said, it needs to be approached as a coach.
Yeah.
So if they're coaching their client, and I don't care what you call them, client success managers, coaches, account manager, you're coaching your client throughout the experience. How can you coach them on how to give you a referral? Because there is enough goodwill for them to want to give you a referral. Yeah. And people don't remember how egotistical we can be as clients. Giving a referral can make them feel even better because it's a status move.
Yeah.
Like, look at how successful I am. Do you want to be successful or as successful as I am? I have this company that can work with you. It can make them feel even better. You can maximize that peak even more by asking for a referral. And I've watched and listened to so many calls. The energy is very low. Yeah. Teams tend to rush the conversation. It's either late in the call and they're running out of time, or early in the call, they plant the seed, they don't revisit the conversation. Yeah. That creates a lot of problems. Another thing I've seen on calls is that they might have the conversation. The client might say, yeah, I might have someone in mind, and they stop there.
No follow-up.
No follow-up. And a simple trick when someone says, yeah, I have someone in mind. Cool, who? Ask him to give you a name. You just made it specific. And when I do follow-up, I will ask, hey, Ben, you told me that Ivan could be a good fit to work with us. Can we connect, like the 3 of us, on an email or something like that? It's specific. I said Ivan, not your friend, not someone you had in mind. Be very specific, because that's a conversation opener.
Yeah.
They give you permission to follow up.
Yeah.
And the same thing I've seen with sales, like most people don't follow up with leads, with prospects, with previous sales calls. If you do, you would close so many more sales. Same thing here with referrals. There will be a lot of follow-up that needs to happen. But again, remember, this is a revenue generating activity. That's how you can scale your delivery without spending money, because they're going to find the money that you need to scale.
Yeah. All right. So we've given some good tips and tactics on referrals. When we talk about, renewals and upsells, we have a very specific process. It's not complex.
No.
Nothing we do is super complex. But we call it a strategic review, right? And I think one of the mistakes that business owners that we've seen them make in this process is, one thing, they'll hand clients back to a salesperson, right? There's no relationship there. So that's very transactional. You'll get some upsells, but you're not going to get the same percentage of renewals and upsells that you will if your client success managers, coaches, account managers are well trained on how to run a client relationship, but how to run a strategic review call, right?
And it's cheaper. Being completely honest, it's cheaper to just get your client success team to run those calls.
Yeah, sales guys should be on the front end.
Yeah, they do front end. They will get their commissions and they just move on. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I think the challenge most business owners see here is they feel either that their team is not ready to take on those calls, or if they feel like the team says they're not ready to take those calls. So the only way to overcome that is by getting them to do calls.
Yeah.
It's reps.
Yeah.
They need reps and reps to see, oh, this is actually not a sales call. Over the 3 years and a half, like I've heard it so many times. Oh, this is actually easy. Oh, this is actually easy. Oh, this is not a sales call. Oh, this is not a sales process. Again, with the touch points, with the goodwill being deposited throughout the journey, it shouldn't feel like a sales call.
Yeah.
It's like another natural conversation with your coach or with your client success manager, someone that has been work alongside you, where they're going to discover what are you looking for after the initial goals, and what's the next set of problems you'll have in the journey. And if they can help you overcome those challenges, they will just offer help and we just keep working together.
Yeah. And I do think it's important, and we can talk more about the strategic review, but one of the other things our clients kind of miss is what we call internal marketing, right? And we always use the analogy of martial arts. When you become a martial arts student, most systems you start as a white belt. But from the day that you sign up as a white belt, you are being indoctrinated in the path to black belt, the path to mastery. And it's something most high ticket business owners are not doing. So that's a big part of the game too, is painting the long-term picture. It's like, cool, yeah, we're here. We're going to help you get to here, whatever the promise is. But here's what it looks like long-term.
Yeah, I can see one potential objection coming from all listeners, because I've heard it plenty of times. Oh, we tried to do that, but then the clients are telling me, oh, you're just telling me I have to pay more. I just paid you like $5,000 or $10,000, and you're already talking about paying for more stuff. The mental reframe there that I've done with teams plenty of times is that, no. It's how you explain it to the client.
Yeah.
If you have an onboarding setup, you give them the martial arts analogy from white belt to black belt, and then you say, hey, our focus is to get to the orange belt of the next 90 days, as an example. After those 90 days, there will be an opportunity for you to go from orange to black. But let's not discuss it in detail now. Let's first make sure I can deliver on your initial expectations. Let's make sure we create like a really solid partnership over the next 90 days. And then we can talk about what the process looks like to go from orange to black belt. Are we on the same page? Yes, we are. As soon as I share this with teams, which is an old sales technique called push-pull. You put an offer on the table, but then you say, oh, it's kind of invitation only. You pull it back. You create some curiosity. You might steer the desire to make you want that offer. And it wasn't pitched. So basically, you're not pushing anything on the client, but you're creating awareness that the journey doesn't end with the orange belt. There is more to come, but you're going to discuss it later.
Yeah. So when we look at the strategic review call itself, right, we're doing things like looking at their goals that they came in with, progress that was made, challenges they had, lessons learned, right? Wins, lessons learned, and then where do they want to go next? And then from there, once we get clear on what they want next, all right, do you want our help getting there? It's pretty much that simple, right?
The only thing that I have seen now with hundreds of calls watched and reviewed It's just understanding where the client is timing wise in their own brain.
Yeah.
Not your perspective as their coach or their client success manager or account manager. Can you gauge where the client is mentally? And psychologically speaking, in any journey, you can be on top of Mount Stupid,
Yeah.
or you can be at the valley of despair. Those are the extremes. If the client is somewhere in between, that's the easiest conversation we'll have with the client to renew. If the clients are on top of Mount Stupid, my recommendation for you would be do some problem education. You should know your client's journey better than they do.
Yeah.
And you should know what the next set of problems are going to be. And just ask some really good questions. Oh, I feel I got everything that I wanted from you guys. I'm good. Okay, amazing. Let's make sure we can at least plan the next 90 days together so that you have clarity and you have a roadmap. Have you thought about X? Have you thought about Y? How are you going to overcome Z? And X, Y, Z are just going to be the next 3 problems they will have in their journey that they haven't thought about.
Yeah.
And because now they are problem aware, they might be more receptive to be solution aware. And the solution is or can be your renewal offer. If the clients are going through the valley of despair, which is the other extreme, those are going to be hard. Those are the clients that are unhappy, disgruntled. They might ask for a free continuation. They ask for something free because they don't want to pay for anything. They didn't get the results. They're not in the right headspace.
Right.
For those clients, my best recommendation would be you need to get your team to be more proactive on that. They should prevent those clients from going to the valley of despair because that's the hardest part to deal with. Because in your client's brain, I don't believe I can accomplish the outcome anymore.
Yeah.
And if they don't believe it, any action is going to be belief driven, so they're going to be in trouble. But I think we'll have like a whole another episode just going through what's the transition that needs to happen for you to go from reactive to proactive and deal with those clients that are going through the valley of despair.
Nice. All right, guys. That's all we got for today. See you next time.